From 13ABC, Conklin and Company, with 13ABC Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First, with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
Morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Conklin and Company. Today on the program, the mayoral election in Toledo. September 10th, the primary election inching ever closer. 13ABC and The Blade partnering for a mayoral debate on Wednesday evening, September 4th. Incumbent Mayor Mike Bell, Councilman D. Michael Collins, and Joe McNamara, Lucas County Auditor Anita Lopez will be part of that. Three others who will not be part of that debate but have already appeared on 13ABC's Bridges and Roundtable programs now have their say one-on-one here on Conklin and Company. You're going to hear from independent candidate Alan Cox and unendorsed Republican hopeful Opal Covey in the next two segments. But first up, the Libertarian candidate Michael Konwinski spent some 30 years with the city of Toledo. Joins us now on Conklin and Company. Michael, thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here.
So here it is. You get your 8 minutes or so, one-on-one.
8 minutes of fame.
No one else is going to interrupt you. Maybe I'll interrupt you from
That's
time
okay.
to time, but you retire in December.
Yes, sir.
And decide, I want to be mayor of the city in which I worked for some 3 decades. How come?
Part of it was frustration. When the strong mayor form of government came in, we had it for 20 years, and it was just stuff that I saw come in, cronyism, people being brought in because they were campaign contributors and things like that. And so there was hope that when Mayor Bell came in, that he would more or less, I don't know if I can say this, kick ass and take names and clean up the city. And I just did not see that. And there was a frustration that we've been continually electing politicians.
Did you support him initially?
I wavered on the fence there. I mean, I was a Republican, so I supported the Republican candidate, but I was not disappointed that he was elected.
Okay, and I want to get to what you said, the cronyism and mismanagement, to transform the thinking in city government from how much we can spend to how much we need to spend. Mm-hmm. And most of your background is in water distribution?
Well, I was in charge of the all of the purchasing, payroll, all the finance of water distribution. So there was a commissioner who ran the division, who made out assignments, but I basically handled all the financing of the water distribution division. Also did that in environmental services, and then later on went into the finance department.
You're a numbers guy, though. Background's in accounting?
No, background's in accounting, numbers, payroll, tracking costs, things like that, okay. Controlling costs.
Not necessarily a guy who's out there ready to press the flesh, go get the business, sell the city of Toledo. More in the background, numbers.
More in the background, numbers guy. But
so how do you change that?
I got to change it because first off, we got to make the city more attractive for companies to come into. We got to get our finances under control to assure people that we're not going to increase fees, we're not going to increase taxes, is that we can live within our means, and then anything that we can do to bring companies into, that we have the ability to do that.
Do you not think, or do you think that's not happening right now, that's not being pitched, that we don't have a good product to sell?
Well, we do have a good product to sell, but what has happened is that government has stepped in and screwed things up. I mean, whether you like the smoking ban or not, it hurt small businesses, and it gave the image that we were unfriendly to small businesses. We had the Bass Pro come to Toledo, and then we could not get over the fact that they sell guns, so that fell apart on the east side. There's been other things that have been done that seem to just discourage businesses, and that, you know, Anita Lopez, you know, even mentioned that we don't want foreigners. You know, I mean, there's that image out there that we're unfriendly to business, and then our permitting process takes a long, laborious thing to get permits. So we need to make Toledo business friendly. To what we want your business, come to Toledo, we'll work with you. If you need land, you need something else, we can deal with that. We don't plan. We don't meet with small businesses to discuss what their needs are.
You know
for
that
growth.
for a fact. We don't meet with small businesses.
I don't know that for
Toledo,
a fact.
Mayor Bell's administration.
I have heard from small business owners that we don't meet on a regular basis to determine their needs. Now, maybe they are meeting with some, but I don't know if there's any small business coalition that meets regularly. I don't know that we meet with large businesses. Not, you know, we're always surprised when Jeep threatened to leave. Suddenly everybody was shocked, and we're scrambling around to make Jeep stay. So we just don't like it. We have a plan.
Okay, well, let's take a look at your plan, if we can. And they, on the surface, it looks like they're relatively simple or common goals here. It is the Konwinski plan, reduce government waste. Mm-hmm. Michael, we've heard that before. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, because most of the people that have claimed that don't know where it is. I mean, they look at the budgets and they say, well, there's overtime, there's vacation stuff, there's travel. That's not where the costs are. The costs are in personnel. If I have a person who's making $100,000 including his benefits and he's staring at the ceiling, that's someone I can get rid of. That suddenly saves me $100,000 that I can use for something else. I can use that for economic development. I can use that to repair streets. I can do that to make other things. So if I can just get rid of 20 of those people that are not doing their job, that gives me $2 million to either cut the deficit down or to attract other businesses.
And is that your contention, that in 30 years of working for the city of Toledo, you've seen middle managers who stare at the ceiling? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. They're unqualified. They don't know what to do. They'll be promoted to a commissioner. They can't do the job. So what will happen is they'll hire a manager to help that person out. So suddenly I have two people doing the same job. And just because they worked on a campaign, or they were a campaign contributor, or their friends were campaign contributors, and you just see that through this whole
goes to your charge of cronyism, political
Yes.
patronage, what have you. And we'll have the mayor on next week, and we'll let him answer that. Clean, safe parks. That's kind of the mantra of every candidate, and we're going to have clean, safe parks for the kids to play in, and for everybody to play in. So aren't there efforts ongoing? Sleepy Hollow Park right next to us here on at the corner of Dorr and Richards. See a lot of people out there every single day.
Well,
so.
and it's funny because my dad walks his dog, and my dad actually picks up the litter. You've probably seen him with the Australian Shepherd from time to time, but he's picking up the cans for recycling. He's picking up the trash, and he's almost community policing that every day or every other day. And most of our parks are good, but when I was getting the signatures, a lot of people said that there was problems with some of the parks and that they would like to see more police patrols of those parks and more cleanup of those parks.
All right, we don't have much time left, Michael Konwinski. Let's run down that list if we can. Street repair, more than is being done now?
I think we need to look and see where, instead of picking on where it's good for a councilman to have repairs in their district, is look overall to see where the worst streets are and get those repaired. A lot of times their council people have a tendency to want to have streets repaired in their district to show that they're re-electable and that they're doing something in their district. And I think we need to have just a unbiased view of saying, well, these are the worst streets, we need to get these repaired quickly.
Finally, you worked in water distribution for a long time.
For
we know that
19 years.
There's a major reclamation project going on with a water and sewer treatment situation. You say you can reduce utility rates. How do you do it?
Again, we can cut down on some of the excess employees, because what happens a lot of times is an employee underperforms in one section, they send them to utilities and they park them there. Part of that is because 10% of their salary gets reimbursed to the general fund also. So if I have a $100,000 person, the utilities now has to pay their salary plus $10,000 to the general fund. So it's kind of a way for the general fund to make money by just sending people into utilities. And we need to cut that down. We need to have people plan ahead and take care of stuff and do the job that they're supposed to do. The treatment plant should have never had concrete falling into the basins and things like that. Somebody was not paying attention. Where's the reports?
Michael Konwinski, thank you very much. I know it's a quick 8 minutes. It's rapid fire. We appreciate it. Best of luck in the primary on September 10th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we come back. Alan Cox will talk with us.